very good evening, good morning. Welcome to all the eminent teachers around the world, right? Today it's very auspicious day because it is a World Teachers Day. In this particular auspicious day, we have international speaker who has been a teacher since long, Coach KHADIJAH from USA. I know this that I'm going to get very, very important things from my life. Now it's your turn, ma'am.
Thank you so much for that introduction. I want to say thank you all for having me today and for even considering me to be here. It's been a long journey, a very, very long journey. So it's such an honor to be able to sit here before you and know that whatever trials and tribulations and challenges were had is worth it because I get to share it with you all. And I know that you all actually care about being here and you all actually care about making an impact. And in the world that we're in today, having that impact is so important. So I want to say thank you all so much for valuing a teacher and valuing what it is that the world has to offer. So often we can get caught in our own world. We can get caught in our own society. We can get caught in people who look like us. We can get caught in our own community, but it's important to be able to look outside of ourselves, to look outside of what we see as normal, look to outside of what the everyday routine is, and to actually see others and to embrace others. So I want to say a huge congratulations to y'all for having the courage and the capacity to even have me here today. So thank you. Today, I want happy International Teachers Day, first of all. Like I said, it's been a long journey. So I've been teaching for over 20 years. I started at 8 years old. I know that that may sound crazy, but I've been studying the subconscious mind and the conscious mind because once my sister was born, I said, oh, she's going to be the smartest child that anybody has ever seen. So I decided, you know what? I'm going to teach her and I'm going to learn how to teach. And from that day forward, it was on. And I want to take you on a journey back to 2015. 2015 was the year that I decided that I wanted to move to China. I was always volunteering and working with children, and one of the parents said, you know what, have you ever thought about traveling the world, going abroad? I live in a very diverse community. So I was always around people from India, people from Korea, people from China, I am literally in Washington, D.C., which is a melting pot. And I had never considered teaching abroad before. And I said, you know what? I don't have anything to lose. I'm young. I just graduated from college. Let's do it. Let's go. As I was on my way to go there, there was a lot of opposition. There was a lot of fear from others. There was a lot of, oh my gosh, that's a communist country. What are you going to do? We live in a democratic society. What are you going to do? Right? And I couldn't allow that fear to get inside of me. I want you all to write this down, is that fear can never get the best of you. Fear can never get the best of you. You see, when you have fear, that means it's go time. That means you have to face it head on. That means that whatever it is that you're afraid of, it means that it's something different. You're not used to it. You have to get out of that routine. So I didn't allow other people's ignorance, not in a bad way, other people's ignorance as in not knowing. They didn't know what it was like. They didn't even know how to speak the Chinese language. So how could I sit back and listen to someone judge a society based on how their government was? So I decided, I got on the plane, I hopped on. From 2015 to 2020, I lived my life there. Now, when I first got there, I'm not going to lie to you all, it was a very challenging situation. I walked inside of classrooms with children pointing at me. And they pointed at me. They didn't know that I understood. I had a working relationship with the Chinese language. And what they didn't know was that I could understand what they were saying. I didn't tell them I could understand what they were saying, but I just sat back and I listened to all the things that they had to say. So as I walked in the classroom, you all see a little bit of my hair now. It was completely shaved, right? I didn't have any hair at all. And I walked in the classroom, click, clack, click, clack. And I'm like, hello, everyone. My name is Teacher Toto. And I was so excited. And all of a sudden Tasha Begorin. What that means in Chinese is, oh, she's African. She's African. Look at her dark skin. And so I began wondering in my mind, what does it mean to have dark skin and to be African? Why is that so funny? Now, I didn't say it to them, but I knew that whatever lesson that I had for them that day, that I was going to have to hold back. I was going to have to hold back whatever that lesson was. The lesson that we were learning that day was actually about globalization. It was about being able to see the world in a different way. It was about learning the continents. But I knew that day we weren't learning about that. We were not learning about that at all. And so I asked the children, I said, so if I'm African, what does African mean to you? And they said, oh, she knows what we were talking about. And I said, yeah, I understood, but it's okay. And they were very embarrassed because one thing that I learned is that there's something called FaceTime, right? And every society has FaceTime. I know you all know, as my best friend growing up was Indian. And one of the things was they were all about face. For those who may not know what face is, it means that on the outside, right, who you are is who you represent. You represent your family, you represent your mom, you represent your dad, you represent your grandparents. So how you act in society reflects on the family. It reflects on, so how knowledgeable you are, how great of a career, it reflects on the family. And I knew that face was super important to them. And so I asked them, I said, I want to have an honest conversation. Are you all willing to have an honest conversation with me? And they said, yes, we're willing to have an honest conversation with you, Ms. Toto. And so I asked them, I said, why did you laugh when I walked in? And the children told me, well, because you're Black. And I said, well, what does that mean to you? I knew that, I want you to write this down. Lions don't have to roar. Lions don't have to roar. I knew that as a lioness, I didn't have to yell at them. I didn't have to scream at them. I didn't have to tell them who I was. I didn't have to do any of that. All I had to do was simply be and to ask them questions because I knew someone taught them who I was before I got a chance to teach them who I was. As a teacher, it is absolutely important that you don't teach them what to think, you teach them how to think. I decided that day I was going to teach them how to think. Why? Because actions speak louder than words. And when I saw that their actions of laughing at me, there was no words that I could say to them that would fix whatever it was. I wasn't looking to fix them at all, actually. What I was looking to do was I wanted to expose them to a different character, a different version that they had never seen before. Because what that told me was, oh, you've never had a teacher that looked like me before. This is awesome. This is an amazing opportunity for me to show you who I am, to share my culture with you, and for you to share your culture with me. And as time would have it, they judged me based on the content of my character and not the color of my skin. And if y'all know where that's from Dr. Martin Luther King's speech. And to be judged based on the content of my character, it was so phenomenal because I asked them, I said, well, you all like basketball, don't you? And they said, yeah, we love basketball. I said, so name some basketball stars. They said, Steph Curry. I said, okay. They said, LeBron James. I said, okay. They said, Kobe Bryant. Rest in peace to Kobe Bryant. And they said, oh, Mamba mentality. Yeah. And I said, and where are all those basketball players from? And they said, America. And I said, but don't they look like me? And they said, yes. And I said, so why didn't you think that I was American first? And they said, I don't know. And then someone said, oh, I knew you were American, Miss Toto. I knew you were American. The point is that when things go wrong, don't go with them. When things go wrong, don't go with them. I had the choice that day. That was a very important day for me. I had the choice that day. Either I was going to choose to react or I was going to choose to respond. Always choose to respond. The emotional reaction isn't worth it, especially when it comes to children, especially as an educator, as a teacher, as an international teacher. I need you all to know something. They're going to make fun of your accent. They're going to make fun of the way you look. They're going to make fun of the way that you speak. They're going to make fun of the way you smell. They're going to make fun of the way that you wear your glasses or you wear your hair or the jewelry. That they're going to make fun of you. It's bound to happen. Why? Because we're so different. My favorite book says that that the highest power made us all different so that we may get to know each other. So we weren't meant to be the same. We weren't meant to all be monolithic and eat the same foods and what is so beautiful about the outside world, what's so beautiful about those who are different than us is that we get to share amongst each other. We get to share. I remember the first time of me having chana masala or having buttered chicken even. And I was like, oh my gosh, this is so good. Oh my goodness. I remember the first time that I had kimchi when I was in Korea. And if you all don't know what kimchi is, it's a pickled cabbage in spices. And I was like, oh my goodness. But all of these experiences that I had were in America. And so to be able to walk inside of friends' houses and to be able to go inside, immediately things are different. Not everybody gets that same opportunity. This is why traveling is so important. This is why international teaching is so important. Sometimes we focus in on things that don't necessarily matter. We focus on the negative thing. If your brother or your sister is suffering, it's important to be able to empathize. I understand we are not the same, and that's okay. But it's not okay to allow others to function in not knowing, right? So it's our responsibility to educate. It's our responsibility as teachers, right? Now, some people aren't equipped with the tools that we have. And as a teacher, it's our responsibility. It is our duty to educate those around us. It's in education, or it is having that global responsibility. It is our duty. If we have that purpose, if we have that goal, if we have that duty, it is something that we have to do. And it's heavy. It's one of the most difficult jobs in the world. But I will say this, as an educator, when you come out, when a child comes out, typically the first teacher is inside of the home, right? It is the mother, it is the father. And our jobs is to foster, to cultivate, not to shame, not to scold, not to make them feel like they're less than, but to empower them. And that empowerment looks different and the approach looks different for everyone. But I will say this, there's a poem that Langston Hughes once said, and it's called, once wrote, and it's called Hold Fast to Dreams. And it goes like this: hold fast to dreams, for if dreams die, life is a broken winged bird that cannot fly. Hold fast to dreams, for when dreams go, life is a barren field frozen with snow. And what that means is to always hold fast to dreams. Children, adults even, have the most vivid imaginations possible. And if you imagine a greater society, it has no choice but to come in. But if we all imagine, the same vision of what we want the world to look like, not what everyone else determines and narrates what they want the world to look like, but if we determine what does the world look like with us, how can we coexist, how we're all in the same room right now and we all look different. It doesn't matter. We all look different. And it's our responsibility to get to know one another. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am, for such wonderful discourse. It is like a plethora of experience you have, right? And this is called teaching. We can squeeze this main part and we can implement into our life. How you faced a problem, how you solved this, and this is called teaching. This is called experience. It is not book. It is not something else. It is the experience we can share and we can implement. Excellent, ma'am. It's a great pleasure for us listening to you.